G'day.
Apologies for the lateness. I'm trying to like do my own timekeeping, which is just a terrible idea.
We have a saying here in Australia, and that's being in love means never saying sorry, KT. So, don't
I'm just
sell
I,
us.
I was just talking to Wellington. I had to come back over to the mainland.
Yeah, what is it? It's like 11 o'clock Tuesday over there or something, isn't it?
It's 5:45 on Sunday. You went entirely the wrong direction.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Great to see your face. Excited for this tour. It's coming up in just over a week.
Oh, thank you so much. I cannot wait.
DestroyAllLines.com, 19th in Perth, 22nd at the beautiful Princess Theatre in Brisbane, the Metro in Sydney, Melbourne wrapping up at the Gov in Adelaide as well. And doing a whole record in full too, which as an artist challenges and benefits. There's a pros and cons list there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's not that many cons with this one. It's just such a fucking blast.
Excellent.
I did a couple, and I've not overcooked it either because I did a couple of gigs in Scotland at the beginning of last year. Did a big summer concert at the Royal Albert Hall in London in the summer, but I haven't really played the record in full that much, so it still feels incredibly fresh doing that. Um, and then the added amazing bonus of when I'm coming over to Australia is I've got Jimmy Barnes' son Jackie on drums,
Absolutely.
who's an absolute beast, and Kathleen Halloran, who's an amazing artist in her own right, but a brilliant guitarist and singer. So I've got my Australian super band waiting for me for when I come over.
Kath, absolutely no relation to me. As we established last week, she just dropped her amazing debut record, Nobody's Baby, a couple of days ago, which is
Yeah, sounding so good.
immense for someone who's spent so much time behind the shadows. And Jackie Barnes, too, I know, who's not just a great drummer, but also an incredible barbershop singer, as I know because my 2-year-old son's in there watching him on TV in the Wiggles right now in the Wiggle Sound Barbershop
Honestly,
Quartet.
honestly, Jackie is like a quintuple threat. He's so good at everything he touches. He's like amazing pianist, great writer, beautiful singer, like, and a very nice guy with it. So he's a danger. He's dangerous.
Hell of a band. Much rehearsal time when you get into the country? Is it like a
We
day,
had
two
a
days,
day.
a day?
So they're getting together and doing a day without me to get
Yes.
through all the mistakes. And then I'm coming in to judge them the next day. We should do a reality show where it's
Like a
just like,
way
right.
more savage, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be I'll
Australian.
be absolutely savage.
Excellent. Well, you are Scottish, so we'd expect nothing less.
Yeah.
And we enjoy that type of savagery. So, looking forward to these
Listen,
shows.
that was one of the strangest things when I first came to Australia was coming as far as you can go and just going, what the fuck? Everyone's the same. How is that possible? But it's really awesome. It's just basically Scotland with amazing weather and better food. It's wicked.
Absolutely. KT Tunstall's Eye of the Telescope 20th anniversary tour, kickstarting the 19th of May, destroyallines.com for your ticks and details. When they
Sorry for the
also,
dogs.
no, don't be sorry. I've got a little poodle
Oh,
floating around somewhere. I've got a 2-year-old
excellent.
watching the Wiggles, so it's all happening. I appreciate it.
Love it.
I was talking to my wife about this chat actually, and she said, "Isn't KT Tunstall that amazing woman we used to watch do those loop performances?" And I thought, you were right back at the genesis of when this kind of all took off. That
Yeah,
signifying moment, Jools Holland, where you did Black
I
Hawk.
know. And I think I can actually say that I was pioneering.
You absolutely
I
were.
think I was fucking pioneering, mate. Unbelievable. And I just didn't even really think twice about it at the
Yeah.
time because I just was using the loop pedal because I couldn't afford a band,
Yes.
which I still can't afford a band. It's amazing that I can afford a band in Australia. Um, but it was really just a needs must thing because I was writing these songs and they were just really rhythmic, and I just didn't want to be doing this like solo singer songwriter Phoebe from Friends Smelly Cat stuff where it's just the guitar. And I was like, I need it to have some like rhythm and some meat, and that get those beats going. And a sound engineer mate of mine had one in his backpack, and he just said, "Let's muck about with this." And so I would always set the loop pedal up myself when I was doing little like cafe shows and pub shows. And people didn't really go mental about it. They were just, I don't know if they just didn't understand what I was doing. maybe they didn't have
Better
that
hat.
like camera
Yes.
close up
Yes.
of my foot so that you're like, oh, she's recording it, you know? They maybe thought I was playing to a backing track, who knows? But so when I went on Jools Holland, I wasn't really expecting anyone to like lose their knickers over it. And they went mental. Everyone just went mental. And then that was that. I was like the loop pedal girl.
And so many different artists to emerge post that, of course, even here in
Yeah.
Australia, our very own Tash Sultana made a
Oh, she's
great career.
amazing. She's amazing. And do you know who else is an amazing looper who made a record in my studio, in my garage in New Mexico is John Butler.
Yes, yes,
And he's great with looping as well. He's a good buddy.
absolutely.
That was John Butler sticking a needle in my finger, those tattoos.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, do you know, it's funny. Byron Bay Blues Fest, of course, which you played before yourself,
Love it.
sadly no longer with us, but we always had that joke when we went. We said, "Where's John Butler going to turn up today?" And I love the fact that Blues Fest is not happening, but he's turned up on KT Tunstall's finger.
Yeah, he's on my finger forever. But it was really cool because John was busking in Fremantle at the same time that I was busking. We were born the same year that I was busking
Wow.
in Scotland. 1975, I think he is as well.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so he was busking in Fremantle, where my uncle Pete had a store in Fremantle Market, and then we met like 45 years later, and now we're buds. And he made a
Amazing.
record in the studio.
It's like these 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, like connecting all
Yeah,
classic
exactly.
rock artists to Stephen Winwood. Love that
Yeah,
you guys hooked up. And did you guys record songs together that may be sitting in a
we
cupboard somewhere? Or
no, we haven't actually done a song together, and we should. We absolutely should.
absolutely, you bloody well should. Who needs a band with you two guys? A couple of loop
Yeah,
pedals, giddy
it would
up.
be loop pedals at dawn. The jewel, the loop pedal jewel.
There's the name, Loop Pedals at
Yeah.
Dawn.
It sounds like a full-on nightmare. It
It
sounds like
sounds like a dubstep
a
performance at
nerd
Brixton.
nightmare.
Um, a bit of hearing loss in 2018. How did that
Yeah,
affect you professionally and personally? How did you move forward from that? In what we do, even more so for what you do, it's just so much.
yeah. It was a massive shock.
Yeah.
And I'd had a bit of damage, like I couldn't, a bit of top end damage, and I had tinnitus in my left ear for about 10 years. And I kind of thought that was it, but I think that was really just the beginnings of it shutting down. And then I was on tour. I think it was just a nervous system thing. I was just pushing life too hard. I was working too hard. And that was just the weakest link. And it went. And the first 3 months of going deaf, I completely lost my balance and had vertigo.
Oof.
And I would take being deaf over that any day. It
Yeah.
was the worst. Like, you can't even stand up to brush your teeth. It was crazy. You can't drive, you can't walk around. So it really made me feel for people who suffer from that. It's really, really difficult and very debilitating. And so by the time that went and I was left with just the deafness, I was so relieved that my head wasn't spinning and I didn't feel like I'd drunk a bottle of tequila every day, that I was like, do you know what? That we can do this.
Yeah.
This is we're going to be all right. And also, my younger brother was born profoundly deaf, Dan.
Yeah. Wow.
So I grew up with a completely deaf brother, and I think that made it a little less frightening.
Yeah.
And it was pretty funny when it happened. And I remember texting him and going, "My God, I've gone deaf in my left ear." And he was like, "Oh, tiny violin, you've only got one ear now." I was like, "Fuck you."
Amazing.
So
Oh,
it was good to be able to sort of laugh about it and then
yeah.
also just have the perspective. I'm not like being completely deaf is very different from losing hearing in one
Absolutely.
ear. I can
Absolutely.
still write, I can still make records. I just can't mix in stereo anymore.
Hey, stereo's overrated.
All this
We
amazing
went
like
through like 2 decades.
locational movie theater like surround sound. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I can't hear any of that. It doesn't matter.
Hey, look, all those great Beatles records are all in mono, so who cares, man?
That's what my producer friend said. He
Yep.
said all the best records are mono anyway.
Absolutely. Get in a room, belt it out if the songs are there
Yeah.
that really matter. This is an incredible record, Eye of the Telescope, the 20th anniversary, being
Thank you.
played in full, which is just, I always admire people. Is it going to be chronologically the actual track listing of the original record?
Well, I'd sort of put the feelers out on the social media to get fans to tell me what they would prefer, and I just haven't looked at the results at all. So I need to actually find out what people have said.
Yes.
Um, I'm guessing people probably want it chronological because I think the experience of listening to an album, the roll into the next song is sort of part of that experience, and I really love playing it that way. It's good. So, and thankfully on the first version of that record, Black Horse and the Cherry Tree was a bonus track, so it's at the end, so I've actually got a banger to finish the
Giddy up.
record with. So
Giddy up. I'm a huge album nerd and I love
oh, good
people's
for
thought
you.
processes behind opening tracks. You know, those first
Yeah,
three have got to really come out, but you don't want to rip someone's face off because otherwise they're going to get the middle
totally.
bit of the record and be like, ah.
I always do like bit of rhythm, get them
Yeah.
in, really good hook, like first line of that first song, and then always go ballad for the third song. I
Yeah.
always do that
Amazing.
in my set list as well.
The John Cusack theory, as I like to call it. You know, got to start with
Mm,
a banger, but you don't want to
high
proverbially blow the
fidelity.
load too soon. Yep, absolutely. Thankfully, someone who knows what I'm talking about. What a great
Yeah,
feeling.
well, one of my most kind of influential bands is the Beta Band
Yeah,
because they're from my hometown
indeed.
in Scotland. So my mum was like the one of John McClane who's in the Beta Band. My mum was his like school teacher.
Wow.
And then, you know, I'm busking trying to get somewhere as a musician, and the Beta Band like gets signed, and they're like they sign to a record label, and someone from our hometown actually does it. And then we're watching High Fidelity, and John Cusack's like, "We're gonna sell some Beta Band records." We're like, "No way!" It was the coolest.
Yeah, look, off topic, but I wish Jack Black had stayed a soul singer off the back of that record. I think Kathleen Turner Overdrive had way more
Yeah,
legs in it than just that film.
he couldn't be contained. He had to fly.
Hey, I was going to leave this to the back end of the interview as I usually do, but I love genesis of becoming a musician, cataclysmic moments. Obviously, there is a lineage for you. You didn't know that your dad was a musician, but your hometown was very musical, and I imagine all of those things contributed to you
Yeah.
becoming who you are, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a weird one because I was adopted and my parents didn't play any music. They didn't listen to music.
Wow, at all.
My dad, no, my dad had like maybe 8 cassette tapes and a little hi-fi player, but it was like Mozart, Beethoven, the Chariots of Fire soundtrack by Vangelis, Billie Holiday, and a dude called Tom Lehrer, who was like a mathematician who
Yes.
did sort of satirical musical theatre songs. And they were actually all amazing tapes. I just didn't really appreciate it completely when I was younger, but there was very rarely like music on in the house. So I didn't really get into listening to music till I was older, till I was like mid-teens, and it was really when my dad got a satellite dish so he could watch the rugby, and then we just began this like epic battle of me trying to watch MTV and him trying to watch the rugby. And that was when I sort of was finding much more interesting stuff like Beck. I remember Loser by Beck came out, and like Fool's Gold by the Stone Roses. And actually, I was a massive INXS fan,
Yeah, wow.
loved INXS. That's actually reminded me I should do an INXS mashup in the gig.
Absolutely, you should.
Killer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it was really music for me was about playing and about writing and creating, and then it all listening to stuff sort of came late. So it was all quite. I was kind of a bit of a late bloomer, so I didn't get my deal till I was like 29.
Some of the best things come later in life. Did you
Yeah,
when you found out that your biological father was a musician, though, did it kind of explain some of that internal fire? Did you
yeah,
or that internal
yeah. I
metronome even, I guess?
I think so, and also I'm very close to my two sisters that I didn't know I had. So I met them in 2019 and loved them, and we're so similar. And they're both really good singers, and they've definitely got that thing. You know, they've got that performing thing. Like one of my sisters could easily be in musical theatre if she wanted to be. But they both have sort of done like Amdram productions, and they love singing. So we actually do. We should do We should go and do a karaoke night, me and my sisters, and see what we can get up to.
Well, you said you couldn't afford a band, but it sounds like you got some backup
I
singers.
think
Hey,
I might have. I think I
hey,
might have one.
hey.
Yeah,
I mean,
lurking,
you know,
waiting.
Jack White didn't want to pay for a drummer. Just get his wife in, pretend it's his
Yeah,
sister. Maybe
ex-wife
you can
even.
make up some crazy stories. These are some hippies that I found. I swapped a couple of dogs with
Yeah,
some traveling gypsies, and now I have some backup singers.
exactly, exactly.
Amazing.
Adventures for the future.
Suddenly I See is the big song, of course, that a lot of people who aren't necessarily music fans would gravitate towards your name because of, and it was an
Yeah,
amazing song in its own right. It had its own life, but then of course a secondary and third life going into movie soundtracks too.
yeah.
Does it kind of blow your mind a little bit to end up in the same conversations as some of these other huge artists just because of the film, I
It's
guess?
it's really mental. So that because of that song, and to an extent, Black Horse and the Cherry Tree as well, but mostly Suddenly I See. I played the ball drop at Times Square in New York in 2022. So 2021 hadn't happened because of COVID. So 2022 was like, they're going to do Times Square New Year again. And there's me. I think it's like a billion people watching that. It's like the next biggest thing on television after the Super Bowl, I think. And I'm playing up to the ball drop and getting interviewed and that kind of thing. And the night before that, I'd been playing in Whitefish, Montana to like 150 people. I was like, how is this possible? I must be the only Times Square musician who plays like après ski clubs in Montana right before doing the New York ball drop for New Year. So it's given me this like really weird dual experience where I'm basically an indie musician.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's the heart and soul of me. I don't like get dolled up when I'm not on stage. Do you know what I mean? I'm not that girl. I'm not that pop singer. I always feel quite bad when people want an autograph and I just have to like apologize that I'm just looking like I've just painted a shed. And I'm like, you must be so disappointed. and then um, and then there's these amazing moments where that massive song has just like, you know,
I
taken
don't,
me to Japan and I'm playing at some amazing event, or, playing in Singapore on the end of that fucking boat that's on the top of the hotel. Like crazy stuff.
and when you artists kind of get to that point, you all of a sudden become involved with lots of different people. And I don't know how to describe this, but when you kind of move and shift in those circles, being
Yeah.
Scottish or Australian can be dangerous because we perennially get the foot in mouth. Have you been in that situation where you're like, oh, it's just a
Oh,
fucking song, mate?
I can't even tell you the things that I've said. Especially when I used to drink whiskey. It was not good. And I always felt so completely in the wrong place in those situations. And at the beginning, like I would get invited to these parties, and I'd sometimes go to them. I'd be like, "Who is everyone, and what is everyone talking about?" And I just felt totally out of place. It's just not my thing. I'm very more than anything. I just want to be like one of the band,
Yep.
and playing. But at the same time, I'm always up for a really great experience. So if you're with a buddy and you can go and have fun and you can gate crash some mad party, then I will go.
Yeah, Gate Crashing a Party is great. And I love the dissection of the ignominy of being an artist and wanting for people to appreciate and love your songs and sing them back, but also getting to that point of being on a pedestal and being like, holy shit, I don't want to be separate to this,
Yeah.
like my music as well.
Well, it was weird with Suddenly I See because the song became way more famous than me. So sometimes, particularly if I'm opening for someone like Roger Daltrey or Simple Minds, or Hall and Oates, amazing bands that I've opened for, I can see that their audience don't know my stuff. They don't know who I am, and then they're like, "Wait a minute, I know this song," and I'll be playing, and I'll be like, "Yeah, it's me. You never knew who was by."
Well, mate, you've
But I
got a
do,
whole
I
work.
do like that.
You've been a whole lot of crack this morning. I bloody appreciate
Oh,
this.
thank you. It's great talking.
KT
I think I'm
Tunstall,
late for my next interview because
you
I'm
are,
terrible at
but look,
timekeeping.
whatever,
You're
whatever.
worth it, mate. You're
Tell them,
worth it.
thank you. Tell them it was my fault, and they'll be like,
I will.
Fucking Dave again. DestroyAllLines.com. KT Tunstall's in the country really soon, about 7 or 8 days before you get here. One final one we ask everyone who comes on the show. What was the first record that you ever owned? How did it come into your possession? Do you still own it? Do you
Listen,
still listen to it?
the first, well, the first record I ever owned was different from the first record I ever bought. So the first record I owned, because the first one I bought was really cool and it sounds really pretentious, but the first album I bought was Heaven or Las Vegas by the Cocteau Twins, which is just one of the coolest records of all time. But the first record I owned was when my dad was obviously trying to get me off MTV and back in my bedroom. He bought me like a big boombox, which was cool AF. And we have this. I don't know if you haven't got Boots, have you? Boots the Chemist.
No.
So in the so in the UK, it's like your chain of pharmacies is called Boots, and it's like where you'll buy plasters and band-aids and shampoo. But they also did this like weird rock collection series of CDs. So my first, what's the big pharmacy in Australia?
Chemist Warehouse.
So it
Really,
would be
really
like
creatively titled.
so it would be the equivalent of the Chemist Warehouse Rock and Roll Volume 5. That was my first record. It was the Boots Rock Collection #5. And it was so wicked. It had the Stranglers, Blondie, 10cc, like Pretenders. It was amazing. The soundtrack, the playlist of it. So it sounded really bad, but it was a really amazing education. And my dad bought me that CD, so he did very well.
That's much better than the 90s McDonald's cassette tapes that my mum used to get me, and it was just Ace of Base and Richard Marx.
Oh,
And
come on. You can't complain about either of those.
look,
Iconic.
I'm reaching those two artists were probably the best. It's just the rest of the
They're the
cassettes that I
ones you
can't remember.
remember.
Exactly.
Excellent. Oh, it's so good to chat.
A pleasure to chat to you, mate. Safe travels. We'll see you here in just over
Yeah.
a week's time and have a great
Can't
tour.
wait.
All
Can't
right.
wait to see everyone.
A pleasure. Take
Cheers.
care. Ciao.